We weren't supposed to see it. Not here. Not this early. The instruments aboard Orion's wake lit up all at once, like a constellation being born in my hands. At first, I thought the mapping array had glitched. It happens all the time when we chart the ancient edge of the universe. Data folds, signals blur, gravity plays tricks with light that's been traveling since before Earth existed. But the shape that emerged on my screen wasn't noise, it was order, a wheel. A vast spiral disk so clean, so impossibly structured, it mocked every law we'd written about the young cosmos. I remember leaning closer, breath fogging the console glass, spiral arms sweeping outward in perfect logarithmic curves, a central bulge glowing with the organized light of billions of ancient stars, dust lanes stretching like brushstrokes across black canvas, threading between stellar nurseries that pulsed with newborn light. Galaxies weren't supposed to look like this 13 billion years ago, just 2 billion years after the Big Bang. Back then, the universe was still violent, still chaotic. Galaxies should have been messy collisions of gas and dark matter, asymmetric blobs still finding their shape through cosmic trial and error. But the big wheel stood there in the data like a completed masterpiece painted long before its time. My name is Dr. James Corner, and I've spent 15 years studying galactic formation aboard deep space survey vessels. I've mapped hundreds of ancient galaxies, charted the slow evolution of cosmic structure across 13 billion years of universal history. I know what early galaxies are supposed to look like. This wasn't it. The Orion's wake was humanity's most advanced deep space observatory. Our crew of 37 specialists had discovered dozens of primordial galaxies, each one a chaotic mess of stellar formation, exactly as our models predicted. But the big wheel was different, mature, complete. My hands trembled as I cross-checked the feeds, running every diagnostic protocol I could think of. Infrared confirmed the structure. Radio telescopes mapped the spiral arms. Gravitational lensing analysis backed up the mass distribution. No error, no misread, no instrumental malfunction. A galaxy that shouldn't exist, existed. "Hey, Corner!" Dr. Sarah Martinez called from across the observation deck. "You finding anything interesting in the deep field data, or are you just staring at static again?" Sarah was our team's theoretical cosmologist, brilliant at modeling galactic evolution, but skeptical of anything that didn't fit neatly into established parameters. "Sarah," I said finally, "you need to see this." When she looked at my display, her expression shifted from amused tolerance to something approaching awe. "What am I looking at?" she asked quietly. "Redshift analysis puts it at z equals 6.8, I said. "That means we're seeing it as it existed when the universe was only about 800 million years old. But look at the structure." I enhanced the image, highlighting the perfectly defined spiral arms, the organized disk structure, the clear separation between the galactic halo and the central bulge. Every characteristic spoke of a galaxy that had completed its formation process, something that shouldn't have been possible for billions of years. "This is completely inconsistent with lambda CDM cosmology," Sarah said carefully. "Spiral structure this organized shouldn't appear until at least z equals 2, maybe z equals 1. We're looking at something that's more evolved than the Milky Way, but existing when the universe was barely out of its infancy." I called in the others. Within minutes, half the science team was crowded around my console, each running their own analyses, each reaching the same impossible conclusion. Dr. Michael Chen, our galactic dynamics specialist, was the first to voice what we were all thinking. If this is real, and I mean if, then we're looking at something that challenges everything we understand about cosmic evolution. Galaxies don't just spontaneously develop this level of organization. Captain Rebecca Walsh pushed through the crowd of scientists. "Talk to me, Corner. What exactly are we dealing with here?" "We're looking at a galaxy that appears to be about 10 billion years more evolved than it should be," I explained. Everything suggests this galaxy completed its formation process long before the universe should have been capable of supporting such complexity. Over the next 48 hours, every instrument on the ship was trained on the anomalous galaxy. What we found only deepened the mystery. The galaxy wasn't just organized, it was optimized. The spiral arm pitch angle was mathematically perfect for maintaining gravitational stability. The stellar density distribution followed curves that maximized efficient star formation. Even the central black hole appeared to be precisely the right mass to regulate galactic growth. It's like looking at a galaxy that was designed rather than evolved, Dr. Martinez confided to me. Every parameter is exactly what you'd specify if you were trying to create the most stable, most efficient galactic structure possible. Designed by whom? I asked, though part of me dreaded the answer. Dr. Elena Vasquez had been conducting systematic analysis of the galaxy's stellar populations. The metallicity gradients are completely wrong, she reported. Natural galaxies show clear radial gradients in heavy element abundance, but the big wheel shows uniform distribution throughout the entire disk. That's impossible, interjected Dr. Yuki Tanaka. Stellar nucleosynthesis doesn't work that way. You can't get uniform distribution without some kind of large-scale mixing mechanism. Dr. Lisa Park, our communications officer, had been analyzing electromagnetic emissions. The radio emissions from the galactic core show patterns that match mathematical constants, pi, the golden ratio, Euler's number. If I didn't know better, I'd say something in that galaxy is trying to demonstrate mathematical sophistication. The arguments started 3 days after the discovery. You're asking me to believe in galactic architects, Dr. Martinez said, her voice sharp with frustration. Intelligence operating on scales that dwarf star systems, somehow existing when the universe was barely out of its infancy. I'm asking you to look at the data, I replied. Spiral arm pitch angles that maintain perfect gravitational stability, central black hole mass calibrated to regulate galactic growth. Name one natural process that could produce this level of optimization. Coincidence, Sarah shot back. We're seeing patterns that aren't really there because our brains are wired to find meaning in chaos. But Dr. Chen wasn't buying it. Sarah, I've been studying galactic dynamics for 20 years. This isn't pareidolia, this is mathematics. The probability of achieving this level of structural perfection through random processes is essentially zero. Captain Walsh cut through the arguments. Dr. Corner, I want you to prepare a comprehensive report on your findings. We're sending a data burst to Earth Command today. That evening, Dr. Elena Vasquez found me hunched over spectroscopic data from the Big Wheel's core region. Something's been bothering me, I said, highlighting anomalous readings. The stellar populations in the core aren't just organized, they're active. More active than they should be after 13 billion years of evolution. What kind of activity? Energy emissions that don't match any known stellar processes, organized radio bursts, even what might be artificial electromagnetic signatures. I paused. Elena, I think something in that galaxy might still be operational. If the big wheel was artificial, and if whatever created it was still active after 13 billion years, then we weren't just looking at evidence of ancient intelligence. We might be looking at intelligence that was still alive. But before we could reach the bridge, the ship's communication array erupted with incoming transmissions. Priority 1 signals from Earth Command. Captain Walsh's voice echoed through the ship. All senior staff to the bridge immediately. We have visitors. The bridge was chaos when I arrived. Long-range sensors showed multiple objects approaching our position. Sleek vessels with designs that didn't match any human technology. They moved with fluid precision, their hulls reflecting starlight in patterns that seemed almost musical. Contact established, announced Communications Officer Lisa Park. They're transmitting on multiple frequencies. They're using human language, perfect English. They want to talk. The main display activated. showing not an alien face but a swirling pattern of light and mathematics that somehow conveyed intelligence, purpose, and curiosity. "Greetings, crew of the vessel Orion's Wake," the pattern said. "We are the architects of the First Age. We have been monitoring your observations of structure 7,832,451, what you call the Big Wheel Galaxy." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of electronics and the rapid breathing of 37 humans, suddenly confronted with proof that we weren't alone. "We compliment you on your perceptive analysis," the entity continued. "Your species shows remarkable intuition for recognizing engineered structures. Most civilizations require several more millennia of development before achieving such recognition." Captain Walsh found her voice first. You created that galaxy?" "Created, cultivated, guided. We shaped the initial matter distributions and guided their evolution according to optimal parameters for sustained cosmic architecture." Dr. Martinez stepped forward. "How long ago? When did you build it?" "In your temporal measurement system, approximately 12.7 billion years ago. It was among our earlier works, before we perfected the techniques for truly stable galactic engineering." The implications hit the bridge like a physical force. These beings had been constructing galaxies when the universe was less than 1 billion years old. "Why?" I asked. "Why build galaxies? What purpose does it serve?" The pattern shifted, taking on configurations that suggested amusement. "The same purpose that drives your species to create art, Dr. Corner. Beauty, order, the satisfaction of imposing meaning upon chaos. We found the early universe lacking in aesthetic appeal and decided to improve it." "Art?" Dr. Chen managed. "You're saying the big wheel is artwork?" "Among other things. Each galaxy serves multiple functions: aesthetic, experimental, communicative. The big wheel also serves as a beacon for species achieving sufficient technological development to recognize artificial stellar structures." "A beacon for what?" Captain Walsh asked. "Recruitment," the entity replied. "Your species has demonstrated the perceptual sophistication necessary to participate in cosmic architecture. We would like to extend an invitation." Every human on the bridge was grappling with the same impossible reality. We had been discovered by beings who treated galaxy construction as both art and science, and they wanted us to join them. "Participate how?" I asked. "By learning, by contributing, by helping us design the next phase of cosmic evolution. Your species possesses something we find intriguing: the ability to find beauty in imperfection, meaning in randomness." The offer was staggering: partnership with beings who had been constructing galaxies since the dawn of cosmic time. "And if we refuse?" Captain Walsh asked. "Then you return to your previous existence knowing that the cosmos contains wonders beyond your current imagination. We do not coerce participation. Art created through compulsion lacks the spontaneous beauty we seek." 24 hours later, the architect's voice filled the observation deck. "Dr. Corner, would you like to see how we work?" "Yes," I said without hesitation. The space around the Orion's Wake began to shimmer, reality bending in ways that made our instruments scream. When the distortion cleared, we were no longer in the same region of space. Before us hung a galaxy in the process of being born, but not through chaotic collapse of gas and dark matter. This was controlled creation, matter and energy being shaped with the precision of a master sculptor. Streams of dark matter flowed in perfect spirals. Hydrogen clouds condensed into stellar nurseries along predetermined paths, igniting into stars at precisely calculated intervals. "We call this one the Harmony," the architect explained. "It will mature into a galaxy specifically designed to foster musical civilizations, species that develop complex auditory communication as their primary means of cultural expression." "You can Design galaxies for specific types of life? Captain Walsh asked. We have been perfecting the art of cosmic cultivation for over 12 billion years. We understand the relationships between galactic structure, stellar formation patterns, and the emergence of consciousness. Dr. Martinez asked the question I'd been afraid to voice. How many? How many galaxies have you created? In this local group of galactic clusters, approximately 43%. In the broader observable universe, our architectural contributions comprise roughly 12% of all galactic structures. Billions of galaxies, entire regions of space that we'd assumed were natural formations, were actually the products of intelligence operating on scales beyond human comprehension. But why, I asked. Why reshape the universe? Dr. Corner, your species creates art despite having lifespans measured in mere decades. You write symphonies that outlast your individual existence. Why do you do this? I thought about every moment of beauty I'd encountered that seemed to justify existence itself. Because beauty gives meaning to existence. Art makes the universe worth inhabiting. Precisely. Now imagine possessing the capability to create beauty on galactic scales, to compose symphonies in starlight that will play for billions of years. As I watched the harmony take shape, I began to understand something profound. The architects weren't conquering the universe, they were beautifying it, ensuring that the cosmos would become a garden capable of nurturing every possible form of consciousness. The message from Earth Command arrived 6 days after the architects departed. The main display showed Admiral Rebecca Chen's stern face. Captain Walsh, your report has been reviewed by the Combined Fleet Command, the Colonial Authority, and the Earth Security Council. The consensus is concerning. What you've documented is evidence of an alien intelligence capable of manipulating matter and energy on galactic scales, an intelligence that has essentially been terraforming reality itself for over 12 billion years. From a military perspective, the architects weren't cosmic artists. They were the ultimate existential threat. The Security Council has classified your encounter under Protocol 7. You are ordered to return to Earth immediately for full debriefing and indefinite quarantine. Admiral, Captain Walsh replied carefully, we've documented first contact with a benevolent intelligence that's offered humanity unprecedented opportunities. Captain, they're not offering us partnership. They're offering us assimilation into a cosmic hierarchy we never consented to join. There's more, Admiral Chen continued grimly. Deep Space Intelligence has identified something your team missed. The artificial galaxy isn't just a beacon or artwork, it's a fortress. The galactic core contains structures that our military analysts identify as weapons systems, devices capable of projecting force across interstellar distances. This changes everything, Captain Walsh said quietly. It changes nothing, I found myself saying. We're looking at the same data through different lenses. The architects showed us galaxies being born, civilizations being nurtured, beauty being created on cosmic scales. Now we're choosing to see weapons because that's what we expect to find. Admiral, I said, making a decision that would affect the rest of my life. I request permission to remain in this region and continue studying the big wheel. If the architects return, humanity needs someone here who understands what they're offering. Dr. Corner, you are ordered to return to Earth. That's not a request. Then I'm refusing the order. Admiral, we can respond to cosmic beauty with paranoia and aggression, or we can choose to believe that intelligence and creativity are forces for good in the universe. The transmission ended with Admiral Chen's promise that a military task force would be dispatched within 6 months. Humanity had been invited to join a community of cosmic architects, and our response had been to send warships. The human task force arrived exactly 6 months later, bristling with weapons designed to crack planets. 12 warships dropped out of hyperspace in perfect military formation. Humanity's answer to cosmic artistry was overwhelming force. "Unknown vessel," came the transmission from the lead dreadnought. "This is Admiral Sarah Voss, commanding Task Force Prometheus. You are ordered to withdraw immediately from the anomalous structure." But before Captain Walsh could respond, the space around the task force began to shimmer. When the distortion cleared, hundreds of crystalline vessels had materialized around the human fleet. The architects had returned. "Greetings, children of Earth. We have been monitoring your species' response to our invitation. The results are illuminating." Admiral Voss's reply was immediate. "Unknown entities. You are in violation of human space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." "Admiral Voss," the architect replied with apparent amusement, "we were constructing galaxies when your sun was nothing but a cloud of cosmic dust. The concept of human space is quaint." The tactical displays showed energy readings that made our most advanced weapons look like stone tools. But the architects made no aggressive moves. They simply waited with the patience of beings who measured time in geological ages. "You claim to offer partnership," Admiral Voss said finally, "but our analysis suggests your artworks are actually weapon systems. How do we know this isn't deception?" "Because, Admiral Voss, any intelligence capable of constructing galaxies would not need deception to eliminate a species confined to a single star system. If we intended your destruction, this conversation would not be taking place." The brutal logic was undeniable. "Then what do you want from us?" "Nothing that you do not freely choose to give. We seek partners, not subjects." "There is something else," the architect continued, "something your military analysts failed to consider. Every galaxy we have constructed serves multiple functions: aesthetic, communicative, and yes, defensive. But defensive against what, Admiral Voss?" "We have been gardeners of consciousness for over 12 billion years. In that time, we have encountered intelligences that respond to beauty with creation, and others that respond to it with destruction. Some civilizations see art and are inspired to create their own. Others see art and feel compelled to destroy it rather than acknowledge their own limitations. The Big Wheel wasn't just a test of perceptual sophistication. It was a defense system designed to protect cosmic civilization from species that responded to transcendence with violence. The moment that would determine humanity's cosmic future arrived when Admiral Voss made her decision. "All vessels stand down," she ordered. "Weapons to stand by. We're going to hear what they have to say." What followed was a demonstration that showed us civilizations from across the galaxy that had chosen cooperation over conquest, species that had learned to paint with starlight and compose symphonies in gravitational waves. But most importantly, we saw what happened to civilizations that made different choices. Silent worlds where once promising species had destroyed themselves. Barren systems where aggressive civilizations had exhausted their resources in futile conquest attempts. "Every species faces this moment," the architect explained. "The moment when they must choose between remaining what they are or becoming what they could be. Most choose familiarity over growth. Some choose growth over survival. A precious few choose wisdom." Admiral Voss was silent for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice carried unprecedented weight. "What would partnership actually involve?" "Initially, observation and learning. Your species would witness the construction of new cosmic architectures, contribute your unique perspectives, gradually develop the capabilities necessary for stellar engineering. Eventually, if your civilization proves compatible, full participation in shaping the universe's continued evolution." "And the Big Wheel? The weapon systems our analysts detected?" "The Big Wheel serves as both artwork and guardian. It protects this region of space from civilizations that respond to beauty with violence. If your task force had opened fire upon encountering our vessels, you would have discovered exactly how effective those defensive systems can be." The cosmic irony was complete. Humanity had arrived prepared for war, only to discover that our weapons were our greatest liability. The architects had been testing our ability to respond to the unknown with curiosity rather than aggression. "Dr. Corner," Admiral Voss said finally, "draft a message to Earth Command. Tell them that humanity accepts the architect's invitation to partnership, and tell them that we're going to learn to paint with galaxies." 6 months later, I stood in the observation deck of humanity's first cosmic architecture facility, watching as human and architect engineers worked together to design what would become known as the Harmony of Earth, a stellar nursery optimized to nurture artistic civilizations throughout the local galactic group. The project would take millennia to complete, but that no longer seemed impossibly long. When you're working with beings who measure artistic projects in geological ages, human lifespans become just another variable in the grand equation of cosmic creativity. Dr. Sarah Martinez had become our liaison with the Architect Collective. Her initial skepticism transformed into passionate advocacy for cosmic architecture. The key insight is that the universe isn't just a physical system, it's an aesthetic one. The same mathematical relationships that govern galactic dynamics also determine what combinations of matter and energy create beauty on cosmic scales. Dr. Chen had become our expert in galactic dynamics, working directly with architect engineers to understand how gravitational fields could be sculpted like clay. His latest project involved designing a binary galaxy system that would create gravitational resonances capable of composing music audible across interstellar distances. But our partnership with the architects had revealed something even more profound. We had learned that we were not the first species to face the choice between creation and destruction, nor would we be the last. 3 years into our partnership, the architects introduced us to the broader cosmic community, dozens of species from across the galaxy that had made the same choice humanity had faced. Our true test came in the 4th year of partnership, when the architects detected a new technological civilization expanding aggressively through their local region. The Conquerors, as they came to be known. They responded to the discovery of other intelligences with immediate military action, viewing the universe as a resource to be exploited rather than a canvas to be enhanced. I found myself appointed to the evaluation committee tasked with determining the Conqueror's fate. After 2 months of analysis and debate, we reached our decision. The Conquerors would be contained, but not abandoned. The architects would construct barriers limiting their expansion while simultaneously introducing subtle influences designed to encourage cultural development. "It's the most humane approach we've developed," the lead architect explained. "We give them every opportunity to evolve while protecting other species from their current destructive impulses." 10 years had passed since our first encounter with the Big Wheel, and humanity had been transformed. Earth itself had become a center of cosmic architecture training. But perhaps the most profound change was in humanity's understanding of our place in the cosmos. We were no longer a species isolated on a single world. We were partners in a community of consciousness that spanned galaxies. The Big Wheel continued its eternal rotation, now joined by humanity's first contribution to cosmic architecture, a small stellar cluster that we had named Hope's Garden, in honor of humanity's choice to embrace wonder over fear. But our greatest contribution to the cosmic community was proving that young, aggressive species could evolve beyond their destructive impulses. Humanity had faced the same choice as countless other civilizations throughout galactic history. We had stood at the crossroads between creation and destruction, beauty and utility, wonder and fear. And we had chosen wonder. Looking at the Big Wheel now, I realized that it had taught us the most important lesson of all. When faced with transcendent beauty, the choice between fear and wonder determines not just what we become, but whether we deserve to become anything at all. Humanity had chosen wonder, and the cosmos had welcomed us home. The impossible galaxy that shouldn't have existed had become the gateway to possibilities we were only beginning to imagine. In choosing to see beauty rather than threat, art rather than weapon, invitation rather than challenge, humanity had taken its first steps toward becoming worthy of the infinite cosmos that surrounded us. And in the endless rotation of the big wheel, in the patient light of its ancient stars, in the perfect spiral of its arms reaching across the void, we could see our future written in starlight, a future where intelligence and beauty would reshape the universe together, one galaxy at a time, until the cosmos itself became a work of art that justified its own existence. The impossible had become inevitable, the beautiful had become eternal, and humanity had become the newest artists in a gallery that spanned the observable universe.